Hello, welcome back to Ultrascape. This is my daily coverage for the Accursed Race. It's the first race this year that I'm going to give daily coverage for. So let's have a look at the race tracker and kind of see what's going on. So if you saw my preview video, you'll know that this race is based, starts and finishes in Albania. And does a loop around some of the Balkan countries, so taking in Montenegro, a little bit in Bosnia, Kosovo, and then finishing up with a big loop in Albania. Like I said, I did a preview video, and you can see the route here on Rider GPS. So I'll use Rider GPS to delve into a little bit more detail about the route as we go along. I did the route last year, so I've got loads of video footage to help bring it to life a little bit. So yeah, looking forward to getting on and following the race. Before I go any further, just have to say a big thank you to Enduro Bearings for sponsoring the coverage of the Accursed Race this year. If you've been watching my channel for a while, you'll know that I've been running Enduro Bearings for a couple of years now. They actually make cycling products as well as industrial products. So if you need a new bearing for your forklift truck, then they've got you covered, as well as a new fancy bottom bracket. But I'll dig into Enduro Bearings as we go on through this coverage. They've got loads of different types of bearings, some ceramic hybrids, stainless steel. I've used both and both performed really well for me. So yeah, thanks to Enduro Bearings, and we'll touch base with them every day this week. So let's have a little look at what's going on. So we're a little over 24 hours into the race now. So the race started yesterday. I was actually out riding my bike, so I didn't do a video update for the first day. But to be honest, on the first day, it's really hard to sort of make anything clear from the race. You can see from the mid-pack here, most of whom are in Montenegro at the moment. It's very difficult to kind of distinguish people. It's all a big bunch of riders. There's not many riders in this race. I think it was 32 or so. So it's going to spread out quite quickly, I think, and you can see the front is beginning to draw away. If you saw my pre-race coverage, you'll know that the three favourites I had were SeatoSummit, Christoph Dijkmans and Marin de Saint-Exupéry. Now, if you look at the leaderboard, unfortunately, it looks like Marin has scratched already. He was really lagging early on yesterday. Yeah, he's officially scratched now. I reached out to him to see what was going on. He said he's just got the flu. So it's really disappointing for Marin. But I wouldn't be surprised if we see him at one of the upcoming races in a few weeks' time. This is an incredibly busy period in the bikepacking calendar. There's basically 3 races back-to-back in the Balkans over the coming weeks. So the Accursed Race, the Hellenic Mountain Race in Greece in a few weeks, which I'll be attending, and then the Trans-Balkan Race. So hopefully you can recover and get himself back and, back in kind of the mix of these races. But the 2 names that I did mention, SeatoSummit and Christoph Dijkmans, they're right up there along with Pierre Bischoff. So yeah, 3 riders kind of near the front of the race now. Let's head back to the map here. And you can see they've passed through the initial section in Albania. So if we go Rider GPS, you can see there's these 3 big passes. So this takes most of the first day before heading into Montenegro and Podgorica. Now the pace seemed pretty fast. These climbs, the first one's pretty rough, second one pretty much all tarmac, and then the third one gets pretty wild. So I've got a bit of video from the third climb, or the top of the third climb and the descent, just to give you a bit of an idea of what you're looking at. You can see how rugged and wild it is. I mean, if you're looking for adventure, the Accursed Race, or even just touring in the Balkans, it's excellent. And yeah, it's pretty spectacular. So this is basically just before the border with Montenegro. So you drop down here, then you've got a long road descent, and then you cross into Montenegro but then you have a nice sort of flattish run into Podgorica, which is the first sort of major resupply of this race. A lot of the mid-pack end up staying there, but the front runners tend to push through, which is what happened to myself, Adrian Lechty and Alex Kopp last year. We were the only 3 that made it through. Everyone else kind of stopped in the city overnight, which you can kind of see here, Podgorica. And if we look at the profile, you can see there's that long sort of run down here. Now what I'm going to do is the route has actually changed ever so slightly this year. Let me put my heat maps on Rider GPS here. So this little section down to the border, you can see here there's a small off-road section. Off-road is designated by the checkered kind of red and white line. Basically, the route is pretty much untouched from last year, apart from a few minor tweaks here and there. This section here is one of those. So last year we rode on that'd be the northern side of the river, on this little gravel track. I think a lot of people just found it quite frustrating because you can see the smooth tarmac road. It's really quiet on the other side. So this year, this section is now been put on the road the whole way through. Probably gain maybe 10 minutes or so, and just it's a bit easier on the mind. It's one of those ones where you think you're almost there, and then you turn off the road, which you're going nice and fast on, and start going down a slow, bumpy track. So yeah, probably 10 or 15 minutes saved there. But I think the pace is a bit faster than last year, just judging by what I've seen over the last couple of days. So yeah, 3 riders up front. I've got some voice notes, so I'm going to start with Chris Dykmans. He sent me a message last night just for a little update as to what's been going on with him. So let's hear what Chris had to say.
Josh, beginning of the night almost. It was a good day. I took my own pace, not too fast, not too slow. As a first day in the end. So for now, really nice. Quite fast this beginning. And quite a bit about all my tracks for now. So now let's kick off the night. I have no idea when I will stop, but definitively this is the best time for me. End of the day, really like it. So we ride again and let's see for the night.
So there we go. That was Chris Dykmans. So he sent that message just as it was getting dark last night. So I assume he'd be around Podgorica as he resupplied. Podgorica is basically it's kind of in a big flat valley. You can see kind of on the profile here, and then you kick up. This climb up here is pretty steep, and then you're on and off road, kind of on a plateau. It was quite stormy when I was up there last year. It tends to be kind of, well, in my limited experience in this time of year in the Balkans, it's generally pretty good, but you can get storms in the mountains. Sounds like it was very similar to last year. We had a big rainstorm just before the start last year. It was a bit wet, but then it warmed up as you got further north. And then after this plateau, you're basically into Bosnia. And then you're on this long, it looks fairly flat. It's basically an old railway track. So yeah, you kind of get a hard start, some steep mountains, and then you get a bit of respite before the real hard work kicks in. Now, if we look at the map here, you can see Justinas is just about heading into the mountains again. So he's kind of done that turn north around here. And as you can see, he's probably on that first climb up, tarmac climb. So he's going to just be getting into the rhythm now. And basically there's no flat pretty much from here on into the finish. If we have a look, Pierre Bischoff has made a bit of a charge overnight. It looks like he hasn't stopped too much, but him and Christoph are together. I think Christoph has been riding faster. Christoph was ahead last night, but then Pierre caught up and overtook him in the night. Now the tracking is on Follow My Challenge, and in the analytics section, they've added a few little bits in there. So you can see all this kind of this info, like daily average. So Justinas, just pushed it a little bit further, hence getting his gap, slightly higher moving speed as well. But we all know how strong Justinas is. Of course, he set the record on the Tour Divide last year. He won the Colorado Trail. He won the Arizona Trail Race. He won Atlas Mountain Race. So he's a strong guy. But interestingly, there's the race flow, which is kind of the standard chart here, but they've also added the stop time. So you can see here, the red blocks here indicate time stopped. So it looks like Christoph took a 4-hour sleep. Pierre took an hour and a half sleep. Justinas an hour or so. Just under an hour and a half. A few little stops this morning, a little power naps. So it looks like Justinas is power napping. Christoph is gone for like the solid blocks of sleep. So yeah, at the moment, I suspect we'll see Christoph come back into second position. It depends how sustainable lack of sleep is for Pierre and Justinas. They're both going to have a sleep at some point. I suspect Justinas looks like he's the strongest rider, given those stats up here with the average speed, etc. But it is early, so who knows? Also, it gets much tougher further on. So Christoph is on a mountain bike. Justinus, he's on an interesting bike. Take a look at it. It's a new bike. Well, it's not a new bike. It doesn't officially exist yet, but it's a drop bar kind of short travel, gravelly kind of adventure type bike from Trek. So I wonder how he'll get on the rougher sections later on. He's got mountain bike tyres, 2-inch tyres, but not quite as much travel as Christoph. I wonder if that will add up over time. We shall see. But yeah, further back down the pack. So we've got those three out front, and then we've got, who have we got here? Daniel Perotti. Don't know an awful lot about Daniel, but we'll keep an eye on him, see how he's going. Andy Dodd, really strong rider. He's just spent 6 months riding through South America, so he should have some good legs. And we've also got Christian Depraz, again, another strong rider. So we'll keep an eye on these guys. But it looks like early on we've got sort of the head pack, this middle pack, and then everyone else just sort of bundled together in here. I did notice on the leaderboard, let's get a new screen here. There was only one solo woman, Jackie Prosser, but she's shown as DNF, which is that's a bit sad for her, really. I don't know whether she started or not. It's basically showing that she's basically done nothing. So maybe she was did not start. Not quite sure what's gone on there. However, we do have two other women riding together as a pair. So Hannah Vett and Annie Dunlap. They are riding fairly strong in the mid pack here. So they are, where are they? Here you go, just in the middle here. So it looks like they have passed through Podgorica. So they're on the first steep climb. This first sort of steep climb of Montenegro. So yeah, that's going to be a good day for them. They should get through to this Bosnia stretch and this long flat section, and I would have thought they'll probably get somewhere around here before the climbing kicks in again tomorrow. So we'll keep an eye on those guys as well. Right, let's just finish up this first report with a little bit of social media. So the Accursed Race is run by Lost Dot. They have some really good photographers following the races. One interesting thing about the Accursed Race is that basically they try and keep as remote as possible. So there's no kind of close-up photos really. They're quite often hidden, and you can see by this kind of photo here, you know, it's taken from a house, you know, or a ruin. So the riders probably wouldn't even know they're there. I found it quite fun last year trying to spot the photographers. Their camouflaging got better as the race went on, it has to be said. But yeah, some good reportage here. You can see the kind of terrain these riders have been taking on. Pretty moody looking. I imagine it's kind of warm down low in the valleys. Bit colder up top. So yeah, hard to get the layering right. But you can see there's some pretty good images coming through there. Let's have a little look at these other ones. There's some interesting stuff on here. So yeah, you can see like chilly up at the tops, but warm in the valleys. So again, you just got to look after yourself and management. Here's our our pair riders, Hannah Vett and Annie Dunlap. This looks like the second big climb on the tarmac predominantly. But yeah, really beautiful. I really enjoyed it last year. So I'm looking forward to following this race for the rest of the week. So thanks for watching. I'll be back again in the morning with the roundup of day 2. So yeah, see you again tomorrow.